Let's see, as usual, got to have the disclaimers. I know that Tim and Scott already kind of talked about this, but why we're here today is because we're talking about restarting uranium production in the United States. And we've had a significant deficit in uranium production out of the U.S. With changing geopolitical opportunities, we're starting to see more demand for U.S. North American production, potentially from domestic utilities, but also European utilities. So Encore itself is structured around being a reliable producer of uranium in the United States. We're focused on in-situ recovery, a well-known technology, and utilizing a fairly low environmental impact as we do this. We have advanced assets, as well as we got current production coming from our Rosita project, and within several days, we will have additional production coming out of our Alta Mesa facility, both of which are located in South Texas. Our advanced assets include additional properties in South Texas to feed into our current operations, but also projects up in South Dakota and Wyoming. We have a strong leadership team. We've built a balanced contract and spot-related contract book. Our basis is around building out a base amount of demand for our sales to sustain the company. Having been in the uranium industry for 37 years, there's been times when the spot market isn't that responsive, so we built our structure to be able to provide at least a portion of our revenue. The revenue will be able to sustain our operations as we go forward. And we've also been building out technology with a prompt fission neutron technology as we're advancing that to begin to go to phase 2 on that. Let's go past that, talk more about Encore itself. As you can see, we've got properties up in Wyoming, South Dakota, South Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming, where we've got 2 projects we're advancing there. Our market cap is $825 million US today. And you can see we've got substantial cash in place. I'll talk a little bit more about that in detail, how that occurred. We're debt-free, which we couldn't have said that 6 months ago. 6 months ago, we would have been $60 million in debt and less than $10 million in the bank, and we've changed that since then. There's what I would like to say is some rather interesting transactions. Our production pipeline is built around a target of getting 3 million pounds per year production rate by 2026, 5 million pounds per year production rate by 2028. And what we've done is that we're advancing projects in multiple tiers. Like I said, we started Rosita back in November, and we will begin starting up in Alta Mesa any day now to begin that production there. And then we'll immediately follow Rosita extension by Upper Spring Creek, our 2 projects of Upper Spring Creek, which will feed Rosita as a satellite operations to the central processing plant. And then we're also advancing other projects, including Mestana Grande, which is a significant portion of our mineral resources at Alta Mesa. Dewey Burdock and Dewey Terrace, Dewey Burdock is fully licensed and permitted. The permits are currently going through an appeals process, but we've been prevailing so far, so we expect that to be on track for that time. Looking to start construction late 25, potentially with production starting in 26, early 27. And Gas Hills will be right on its heels, if not ahead of it. That's a brownfields project that we'll be advancing as well, and that we're currently moving forward right now. The difference between the hashes and the solid lines are the hashes show an advance of our projects as a result of the cash we got from the Boss transaction we did, where we sold off 30% of the Alta Mesa project as a joint venture to Boss Energy Ltd., and they paid us $60 million plus another $10 million direct investment in the company. That gave us sufficient cash to be able to to advance our production, whereas in the past we were living effectively hand-to-mouth. In our South Texas operations, let's see, there's a video, but I have no idea if there's audio. That's a video of our satellite plant at Rosita. That facility does about 1,000 gallons per minute and feeds our Rosita Central Processing Plant. You can see the footprints are relatively light. The good thing about working in South Texas is we don't have to bury everything in the ground. This is Alta Mesa. Much bigger facility with a 2 million pound per year nameplate capacity. It's better with sound, but I don't know how to use the music, so. As Scott showed in his presentation, we use in-situ recovery. 60% of the world's production is done with in-situ recovery. It's not a fact that a lot of people talk about, but that's the reality. And what we do in South Texas is that, at least in our operations, we use an alkaline system where all our entire reagents are strictly oxygen and water, native groundwater, where we cycle it through. One of the things that allows us to do is maintain our control of our constituents so that when we get done mining and producing uranium, we can restore the groundwater as it's necessary. The advantage of this is that we get low CapEx cost. And and the other item is that we don't create any large surface disturbances, as well as we don't create large mill tailing sites. There's no tailings that comes off of these sites. So it's a very small environmental impact, and as a result, we feel it's the best way to go, particularly when you're wanting to advance projects quickly in the United States. We prefer to operate in states with really strong, I would call in our U.S. Tier 1 jurisdictions, Texas and Wyoming. And because they're agreement states, there's no minimal federal part of the permitting process. This is our first production. Texas is well known to have large mineral resources. This is our footprint in South Texas. The Rosita Central Processing Plant is located in the center in red. We have the Kingsville Processing Facility to the east, and then Alta Mesa down at the bottom. One of the things I have to explain to people is the picture you see here, actually all the property positions are to scale, but that really just shows how big the Alta Mesa property is relative to the others. It's 200,000 acres, but the main thing we see is that with Rosita, we'll be feeding it from 3 different production sites, or satellite well fields that are in the current plan, but we're going to be advancing other properties too and acquiring other properties to feed Rosita. And then Alta Mesa, 200,000 acres of land with one mineral owner. And we have roughly just about 20 million pounds of measured, indicated, and inferred resources on that property that's been drilled out to date. We put out some recent results advancing our well field installations at Alta Mesa to go on to production, where we've had record grade thicknesses off of them and astounding results that are exciting. But for me, it's not surprised because I've known this project since I started it in 2004 for a private company. And I've always felt that Alta Mesa has been undervalued in the market. And even though we paid $120 million for it, I believe it's worth substantially more as a value asset. In summary, we've already commenced production in South Texas in November, and we've got near-term production coming out of Alta Mesa. And I've told my operations manager he had until May 7th at 11 a.m., but he just wanted to know what time zone he needed it. But anyway, it's a bit of a joke, but if you don't put time limits on things, people don't deliver, right? What we've been able to do is leverage the cash we received from Boss Energy to be able to accelerate our expansion plans. And that's a big plus. It's good to take, it's an advantage we see here. We were able to do that without diluting our shareholders. Yes, we diluted one of our assets, but we didn't have to go out and dilute our entire shareholder base to be able to raise that money. And that's an important factor. And we've already got revenue coming in off of our contracts this year, as well as we've got contracts that from all the way out to 2032. And I'll leave time for questions.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, we do have some time for questions. Anything from the floor?
I answered them all.
Paul, you have Rosita and Kingsville Dome ISR plants down in South Texas. Do you foresee expansion at Rosita before you decide to get Kingsville up and running? Yeah.
Yes, so Rosita already has back-end space or the ability to expand capacity. And so we keep Kingsville in standby as a production option. If it becomes to a point where we think that the trade-off value to expand Rosita even further than what we can do today, we can effectively double capacity today, way it's currently configured. But if we need to go higher, we may look at a trade-off study with Kingsville Dome. It's not that much farther driving distance from Rosita, and so we see it being economic and being able to drive that business aspect. But it's going to take some trade-off studies to do that.
Okay, and how is your resource conversion going in and around Rosita extension?
Well, if I just go off of so at Rosita extension, we haven't done much more drilling outside of what's done for the extension. We moved all our drilling assets to Alta Mesa. We're moving drill rigs back, some of the drill rigs back to advance the Rosita satellite plants, or satellite well fields right now. So we'll start being able to see some information coming off those in the next 6 months or so. We have the one critical path for us has been drill rigs. It's not been cash, it's not been people, it's been getting drill rigs to go out and add resources. And as a result, it's created a little bit of time constraint, but we've been managing and adding drill capacity to allow us to advance. So in addition, we'll be starting to drill out at Mestena Grande as well, to begin able to convert some of those inferred resources into measured.
Okay. And, right here.
What kind of drilling do you do? What kind of machine do you use to drill?
We use mud rotary. So it's a standard water well drill rigs, mud rotary. We don't do cores, mainly because we don't do cores because we won't need to, because we have prompt fission neutron to do our downhole assays. But also the formations are so friable and soft that even if you did an extensive coring campaign, you'd probably catch only 25% of the core.
Well, it's an advantage not to have to do that.
Yeah.
And what are your costs per meter drill, or what do you pay by the foot for those oil?
Pay about $5 a foot.
Oh, God bless you.
Yeah, well, they move fast. They get a lot of footage in, so it's encouraged volume. We get quality wood volume because they don't get paid if the hole's not straight either.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
You mentioned prompt fission neutron. Maybe you just elaborate what you mean by that?
Sure. Prompt fission neutron is a DOE developed, Department of Energy developed tool that allows in-situ assays of uranium. Several companies use them. We just acquired the IP for the technology to incorporate this tool into the software packages for logging trucks. But what it does is that instead of doing a proxy review calculation of using gamma radiation as a proxy for uranium concentration, it actually physically measures the uranium in the formation by generating neutrons that actually go into the formation and excite the uranium atoms in the formation to give off a gamma radiation, specifically tuned gamma radiation that can be picked up by the tools. Basically, it can count the total number of atoms in a 3-foot diameter cylinder of soil, saturated soil, and tell you exactly how many atoms are in there. And then from there, the computer calculates the percent grade and grade thickness. It's a very efficient tool, and it takes a lot of work to maintain them, but they work very well, and we're bought into them.
Okay, great. Thank you very
Thanks.
much, Paul.